I thought about it. I would understand why.
All right, call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I can ask everybody to please remain standing for a moment of silence for past member Blossom Rosman, who passed away. She was 100 years old. She's an icon in the Ellenville community. In the Ellenville Central School District, she was responsible for starting the Holocaust Studies program, implementing it and bringing it to Ellenville Central Schools. And along with another, she implemented the World of Difference program in Ellenville schools, developed by the Anti-Defamation League, provided training in anti-prejudice and diversity recognition. Thank you. And I will close this meeting in her honor. I will accept the motion to the minutes of the January 4th, 2022 meeting.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Public forum for this evening. We have 3 people. I'm going to start with Audrey Otero. Her subject is about COVID. I just remind you that you have 3 minutes, and we do not discuss personnel or specific students. Audrey?
Yes, you can come right up here.
I'm sorry.
Okay, can you repeat that? I'm sorry, you can't discuss what personnel? What
Cannot discuss personnel, specific personnel members of the school district or personnel issues, or you cannot discuss specific students.
Okay. Okay. I guess my question is then, at what point with the numbers do we say that it's high enough? You know, we have to close down, maybe do a proper cleaning. I'm a little concerned with the numbers being so high right now and certain protocols that you guys are doing as far as, you know, vaccinated, not vaccinated, who, you know, who has to quarantine, who doesn't have to quarantine. Where do us parents have a say about our kids' safety? You know, these are my questions, and I have tried to contact the district before, and I haven't gotten any emails back. I haven't gotten any phone calls back, but I'm getting concerned. My son is asthmatic. My twins, they're premature. They get sick very easily, and I worry every day that my son's going to come home and he's going to be sick, and it's going to get bad. These are my concerns for my family.
All right, so Ms. Artero, we do have 2 more people that want to discuss COVID-19, so if you'll hang out, we'll get to your answers. Thank you. Call to the podium, Brittany Simpson.
Yes, hello. I have 3 kids in the school, 1 in the elementary school, 1 in the middle school, 1 in the high school. My oldest child is asthmatic as well as suffers from severe anxiety. She herself has expressed to me her concerns when it regards a lot of kids not wearing masks inside of school and the amount of cases that have happened. In the beginning of the school year, I was notified that my son was exposed to a COVID case 4 days after his exposure. I decided myself to keep my kids home from school since the vacation period because of the increased amount of cases. I myself have lost family members, both vaccinated and unvaccinated, due to this, so I know the severity of how bad it can get no matter what precautions you take. And I'm just very worrisome because I've been keeping my kids home, and although my younger 2 kids' teachers seem to understand my concerns and have been working with me with allowing my kids to be able to do work from home. My oldest child, who's in the high school, was told the only way that she would be willing to pass this year is if she shows in person for her assignments, which with severe anxiety included with depression and suicidal thoughts is not a good mix to be able to have inside of a school when there is something like this going on. I would not want my kid at a pox party or around a bunch of people with head lice. So why would I want to put my child in a situation that would be so risky? I was told that in order to have my kids at home safe, where I as a parent feel is the safest for my child, which I feel that every parent should be able to do what they feel is best within their child's interest, I'm being told I basically have no choice. Or I must take my child out of school and pay for homeschooling at home, which as a single mother with a low income, I cannot afford at this time. So I feel like I have no voice whenever I'm expressed this situation, that I'm told that basically I have to put my kid in the line of fire. If all the kids are jumping off the bridge and I say I don't want my kid to jump off the bridge because I don't feel that it's safe, and somebody says, well, I feel that it's safe, so you should let your kid jump off the bridge. Why is it as a parent we don't have the right to be able to do what is best interest for our children? I feel like a lot of parents are being silenced because I understand that a lot of kids were not able to pass while doing remote, but I feel as parents, we should be able to make the better judgment of knowing what is the best interest of our child's safety. Because a lot of us also have family members at home that are very high risk. My father has COPD, he has congested heart failure as well as degenerative heart disease. And my youngest child had to get had to get tested for COVID 4 times within the school year due to exposures. And to see an 8-year-old child hysterical cry every time because she's scared that she's gonna die if she catches COVID is not fair. Not only to the kids, like academically, yes, that's a problem, but I'd rather have a failing healthy kid than a child that might end up in the hospital or a family member that might pass away. Because not only is this the concern of the children, it's a concern of a community. Because when our kids are here and they're exposed and they catch these cases, they bring them back home and they spread it to everybody else. There may be 91 cases in 1 week at the school, but that's not saying about everybody else within the community.
Thank you, Mrs. Simpson. Brianna Lax.
Good evening. So my concern is, so we received an email and posted on the Ellenville website that the kids, the test to stay, if they want to test to stay, that's fine. But during that period, they have to quarantine at home. I feel like that contradicts itself because they're in school with the same children that they're home with. So why do they have to quarantine at home if they're testing negative to stay in school? Why is it that they are quote unquote safe enough to be around kids in school, but not safe enough to be around kids at home? That doesn't make any sense at all. Like I don't see where that makes any sense.
I'm gonna have the superintendent address your concerns as soon as you're done.
Okay. Also, I was told by, I know that you can't mention personnel, but I was told by multiple personnel that it is getting very overwhelming to teach the kids and keep them safe at the same time. So, I mean, maybe they're not willing to come forward and say that, but they're saying it to parents. So I feel like it is a concern. It's definitely a concern for the entire community. You know, the school district as well as the community. Like, I don't see where it's okay at all.
Thank you. I'm going to have her, I'm going to ask the superintendent to address some of the concerns that have been raised.
So I want to start by saying that these are really challenging times for all of us. And I know people get infuriated when I cite the guidance and I cite what the health department says and what the CDC says. But one of the things that school districts in this county and across the state have been doing since this started is relying on the guidance from the CDC and the state education department and the local and state health departments. And Mrs. Lax, I will tell you that when we looked at the test to stay, guidance. It is counterintuitive, right? That you can come to school, but you can't participate in after-school activities, right? I know. I know. I know. And I'm validating what you're saying. And I'm there with you on the frustration, right? Because it does some of the guidance that comes out does not make sense at all. And I'm not going to argue with you because I can tell you as administrators, when we first got the guidance and we sat around and we talked about it, it was like, this really doesn't make sense. Why would we even do test to stay? And you start doing the research. And I just want to say that this board, myself and all of us in the school, whether it's calling a snow day, right? 2-hour delay or the safety, we take it very seriously. And I feel badly that people think that I'm a puppet or I just listen to the guidance blindly. That's not what happens here. We have spirited discussions about this. On the other side of that, I can tell you that the staff here would tell you, especially in the high school, there has been such a significant, extensive loss of learning, right? Over the last 2.5 years, it's deafening and it's palpable for us. It's just overwhelming for the students. And we're concerned about that. And what we have learned and what other school districts have learned here is that the remote option, it did not work.
What about hybrid?
Well, let me just tell you about hybrid too. I'll talk to you about hybrid and remote. With students that were on remote, it's very difficult for teachers in a classroom to look up at a screen 25 kids and keep them engaged. Some kids don't put their screens on. You don't know who's on the other side. And teachers here, we have a great staff. They take their responsibilities to deliver instruction to our students very seriously. And we know, based on when they came back, what losses there were. And we're concerned about it. We know we're not going to gain that ground back in a year. It's going to take some time. And we're not alone. This is not an Ellenville issue. This is a statewide, countrywide issue on where we are in education right now. Besides the academic piece, there are so many of our kids that were isolated, even with their parents home, isolated on the computers. And really, it's bad enough on a good year when everyone's looking at their phones and engaged in, computers, and you can't get their attention as parents, right? Because they're so, now we have kids that have that's where our kids have been, right? So we know that is taken an impact on our kids. We see it for the kids that have come back. We've hired, social workers, and we're really trying to provide as much support as we can to students so they can transition back to some kind of normalcy. So the fear, right, that is instilled in us, from the media and other things over COVID is also overwhelming, right? No one wants to see anybody get really sick or die, any of us. So there's this big balance that's going on with what do we do with kids, right? How do we keep them engaged, right? And we know the best place for the students is with their teachers and their peers, so, being socially distant and doing that. Now, I think somebody said, I think it was Mrs. Otero, about the concern about the masks. The people aren't wearing masks. So we have been very diligent, and we're taking an approach where you have to wear your mask in school. Now, there's all kinds of things happening right now about masks, and, that'll work itself out. But masks will be an option, right? And now it's a mandate, and we are deep cleaning the school. We're not going to close for one day to deep clean, because what happens with this virus is everyone comes back tomorrow, right? Doesn't matter how clean or deep clean you do it. Everyone's going to come back in here. If someone has a virus, they're going to breathe, right? Or they're going to, you can't keep deep cleaning every night. You can't close forever. So I am empathetic, and these have not been easy decisions for any of us. So I just have to say and I'm glad I have this opportunity, that none of this is easy. And when we sit back and we look at the guidance, we say, what's in the best interest of our kids? We know that they have slid so far back by not being in person that it's not an option for us. Now, let me say this. We have talked about it. What does remote look like? But if you walk past the classroom, especially in the elementary school, you think about 10 students in a classroom and 10 students on a screen, right? And a teacher trying to teach reading and redirect students. It's impossible. And it's not equitable. And it's very difficult to say that that could happen. Going back to a hybrid model, when we were on a hybrid model, right, parents, we were kind of shut in, right? Everything was closed, everyone was home. There are a lot of parents that don't have those opportunities. And the other piece of that is that there was a limited time that kids were here. It was half a day, right? Half a day in, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday was full remote. And no matter how that looked, there wasn't enough contact time for students. It was a lot of sacrificing that we all did because of COVID. So the cases got better over the summer. We knew that if you look at the trending of this over 2 years, we knew that there'd be a spike. Yes, there was 91 cases that first week. We're down to 41, so there's been a decrease of 51. If you look at the county stats, they're coming down. Is that okay? No. But we knew we were going to see increased numbers after the holiday. So there's no metric that says, what does that look like? We didn't know what that would look like. A lot of those cases are reflective over what went on over the break, not what the spread is in school, right? And we are balancing all of these facts and where we are with what's in the best interest of keeping our students engaged and educated. So we're not dismissing your concerns. I want to be clear about that. And I know how that feels sometimes. And I know it's, oh, that school, and one thing I'm just going to clear up, because I got a question from a parent today. We get no additional money. I have to say this because this is out there. The school district is not benefiting. It's not about money for us. It never has been. We are a high needs district. The board can tell you, if you go back and look at our meetings, we've been shorted a lot of funding over the years. We've scraped by and done what's in the best interest of our kids. And we would never, ever, ever do anything. The board wouldn't let us do anything. No one has the palate here to do anything for money. It's not who we are. It's never going to be who we are. So that is misinformation, and I'm going to clear it up right now. It's not a money issue here. We didn't get one additional penny for being remote. They're not taking any money away from us, whether we're remote or not remote, whether we have masks or not have masks. That's not what this is about. And I'm not going to talk about this again because I'm so infuriated based on who we are and where we are that anyone could ever think we would make a decision about money for the kids, because our staff and who we are here with Ellenville Pride is not about that. It never has been. So we are struggling with what to do. And we're focused on what's in the best interest of our kids. And when I say to parents, look, the remote option is not going to work. We don't have teachers. And I will tell you this, there are not enough teachers out there for the whole county to hire to provide a solid remote option. We can't even find certified substitute teachers in the county and the state. So this, to deliver an education, is the best option. So I get, as a parent, if I was extremely, and I get how you're feeling. And that's why there is an option to homeschool, and it's not an easy option, right? But it's an option that if COVID is such a significant factor that you don't want your kids here, even for a short period of time, you can use this option to homeschool. Now, that doesn't mean you have to homeschool forever, right? You can check it out, see if you want to do it. Your kids can always come back. So it's not a forever or a yes or a no. So I'm just saying that I have to say, people say, oh, I saw this, or people are saying this. And I get it. And I get we're a school and an organization, and it's that school. But there are human beings in this school, and I have to assure you that this board would not allow any of us to just be callous about all of this. We do have mandates. We have to follow them. We do what we have to do. And we are always, Mr. Napoli is our COVID coordinator. He's talking to people all the time if there's a report about what we could do better. There's a lot that we're doing. And I apologize to you about feeling unheard, because that's not what we want our parents to feel. And we just have to continue to work through this. And it's going to get better. It's getting better. We saw that in the numbers. Do we still have some challenges ahead of us? You bet we do. And it's not going to be a one-year challenge. We have a period of time to work through this. So I don't know if you want to add anything.
Can you make normally we just, public session is just, you're up here and you give your questions and then we answer it back. Can you make an appointment to come see the superintendent?
I mean, it's about what she had said.
Okay, all right, go ahead. Let's take one question.
So you said that when you've seen the CDC guidelines and you said that they contradict themselves and you've seen that since the beginning. So why do we continue to follow the CDC guidelines for the school district if we know that they contradict themselves? Why are we going to continue
I'll tell you why we
we just all use our own common sense?
I'm going to tell you why. So when it was explained to me about the CDC guidance, and I'll use the part of it, and you correct me if I'm wrong, about why can you test to stay, right, and come to school, but you can't participate in extracurricular activities.
Or you have to quarantine when you're home. When you commit to stay, it stays in the letter when you go
Okay.
home, you have to quarantine.
Right. So we can go through that with you, and we would love to talk to you about that. But the point of the guidelines and the point of what's being said out there is this. Kids need to be in school. And we know that. So we'll take tests to stay to get kids in the building, and I'll accept the mandate to keep kids in school, even if they cannot participate.
Okay. I'm going to
So
ask you, because this is continuing dialogue and that's not the purpose of our public sessions. It doesn't meet with our policies. If you can make an appointment to meet with the superintendent, she'll be glad to talk to you in depth and go over all of your concerns. So please feel free to make an appointment with the superintendent. And I thank you for coming. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, no, I'm just ending this discussion.
They don't have to quarantine, and they can come to school the next day, as long as they're feeling okay. But let's be realistic, a lot of vaccinated don't have symptoms. They can still be carrying COVID.
I'm going to ask you to like I.
The next day, around our children.
I'm going to ask you to make an appointment with the superintendent so that we can move on. So you can make an appointment with the superintendent, because we're not going to sit here and debate this all night. Right. She'll give you the answer. She'll be glad to take your phone number, call you, talk to you, because she's available to you. Well, you can make, she definitely will get in touch with you. Can you get her information? If you do not hear back from her, please come back to the next meeting. Okay? If you don't hear back from her, please come back to the next meeting.
No.
He's going to. No. Yeah. So Mr. Napoli is going to take your number. The superintendent's going to meet with you. You can come in and meet with her for as long as you like and discuss as much as you want about this issue. Thank you for coming. All right, Mr. Donahue, we have a Ptech Academy presentation update. Would you bring your students and yourself up to the podium?
Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Donahue.
Absolutely. Good evening, Superintendent Wiles, Chief Matrician, members of the board, members of the Ellenville community, guests tonight, and those at home. And thank you for giving us some time to provide you an update. With January 28th, I believe that is the end of the second marking period, and in school terms, we're about halfway through our year already. And so what we wanted to do, and I am joined, and let me start. My name is Bill Donahue, principal of the Ellenville Ptech Academy. I'll allow the three young scholars behind me to introduce themselves, and then I'll get us started.
Good evening. My name is Marcus Luis Rivera. I'm one of the Chapter 1 Young Scholars of the Ptech program here.
Good evening. My name is Alan Nyberg. I'm also one of the Chapter 1 scholars in Ptech.
Hi, my name is Michael Nidhan. I'm one of the Chapter 1 scholars in the Ptech program.
And so each young scholar is going to take a specific section of the presentation and really speak to their experiences. There's the information which will be on the slides, which will be available for everyone to see, but also the young scholars will fill in their roles and their experiences as having those lived experiences. All right, so that's, without further ado, we'd like to go ahead and get started. If we can go to the next slide. So some of the things you've already heard, some of the nomenclature that we talk about, our Chapter 1s are our students who are really at the first chapter in their 9th grade year of their journey, which is a 6-year journey. And we have several components of our program that we strongly believe create engagement, passion, excitement, relevancy, and all of that. And you can see here, I wanted to start with really what our core values as a Ptech organization are. Collaboration, reflection, creating autonomous learners, compassion, and enjoyment. And these principles inform every instructional decision we make, down to the opportunities, the daily instruction within the classrooms, the type
Excuse
of
me, Mr.
environment we'd
Donahue?
like to create. Yes,
Can we pause until they're finished back here, please? I can't.
sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
So all of these that you see here, again, inform our instructional design, the environment we look to create, and the opportunities we look to create for our scholars. And these are really our North Star in guiding our principles in Ptech. All right, so at this point, I am going to ask Mr. Luis Rivera to come up and talk about where the journey began.
All right, so once again, I'm one of the Ptech Young Scholars here at Ellenville, and basically I'm going to be talking about my personal summer experience from Ptech. So basically, us young scholars, we began our journey in Ptech basically in a two-week day type of thing, where basically we had this one trip where it was a ring-set homestead rope climbing place where we got to learn things like teamwork, and there was a guy there who was talking to us about leadership and things like that, with all the activities that were there. And we got to climb ropes, all the sorts of things that you wouldn't think like regular school. You don't really go on like a lot of trips no more because it's like 9th grade. And so it was a really cool experience that I had during the summer experience with Ptech. And yeah, that was one of our things. And next slide, please. And then one of our other activities that we were able to do during those 2 weeks, the period, we had us young scholars, we received our first challenge that was given to us. It was called the Rube Goldberg machine that we had to create. We were put into groups, and basically it was a type of activity where it was a whole lot of like components, a bunch of activities into making one task. So my personal group, it was like a bunch of we used objects like tennis balls and like blocks and things like that. for one task was to knock over a marble, and basically we had to have step-by-step, like, proceed, like, it was like a type of procedure that we had, like, step-by-step to basically do the one task was to knock over the marble into, like, this little vortex type of thing that we made. And basically that was just a really fun experience as well, our first project that that we were given in the groups. And at this time, I'd like to give it back to Mr. Donahue.
Thank you. All right, so, and what Marcus was referring to, oh, and Marcus, you actually have one more slide. You want to talk about this? Yep.
Basically, this is October 6th. Us young scholars, we were given it was our first college class course, basically. It was crazy thinking about how, like, we're ninth graders and the title of college course is just crazy to all of us. And it's like ninth grade is just amazing. And especially the person who's like our professor giving the course was really like supportive about it. And I just really enjoyed that. Like, as you see the picture there, I really enjoyed that. So.
And unfortunately, what you can't see because of the mask is the smiles on their faces, and that was probably one of the best days. But just going back to what Marcus was talking about with the summer experience was, that we jumped in both feet. One of the big components is kids working together, thinking outside the box. They had those opportunities first and foremost, and they've had continual opportunities to refine those experiences in an ongoing way. So we can go. So another one of our kind of core principles here, and this relates to our workplace learning. If we remember, just Ptech is about really getting that collegiate experience, which obviously Marcus spoke about. Obviously completing our high school requirements, but then also getting that workplace learning experience in a real and meaningful way. All right, so again, some of the core values that align for that, and these core values are taken by industry partners. Challenges are designed for our young scholars, and there is no template. They are given a challenge, they're given materials, and they are told, go at it, use your creativity, use your teamwork, use your collective brain power to come up with something original. All right, and I'll pass it off to Alan in a second to talk about some of those experiences. But basically, we look for awareness, exploration, preparation, employability is a big one. What are those kind of soft skills, such as getting up in front of a mic, in front of a public crowd, and how do we do that, which these guys have had a lot of experience with, and demonstration of that. All right, so those will kind of inform, and I'm going to ask Mr. Alan Ebrick to come on up and talk to us about that.
Hello once again, I'm Alan, and I'm talking to you about our workplace learning challenges. And these challenges were given a genuine workplace challenge where we investigate, research, and execute a plan. And yeah, our first, oh wait, can you go to the next slide? Yeah, okay, thank you. Our first workplace learning challenges was when we worked with our industry partner, Viking Industries. We had the challenge of creating a cardboard box for a Heart Moves company, which is a connection tool used within our community and beyond. And after creating the box, we visited and represented into the creator of the Heart Moves project, as well as Viking Industry. And it was a great experience. It taught me a lot about being okay with failure, because oftentimes we completely mess up our design in our box, and then we restarted from scratch, and it ended up working out. So yeah. Can you go to the next slide? Oh yeah, thank you. Our second workplace learning challenge was the Fala Technologies Challenge. So with Fala, they're a manufacturing company, and we had to create a job posting as well as a pop-up ad for them. And then we went to present next to HVPA and the creator, the owner of the business Fala. And whilst doing that, afterwards, we took a tour of the SUNY Ulster College. And this project taught me a lot about being able to use the resources and use creativity and things of that sort to benefit. And it also taught me about industry workers and professional scenarios. So it taught me a lot about that.
Okay, and as you'll see as an ongoing theme, Exposure, access, these are really, again, important principles. And taking that opportunity, it's one thing to talk about college, but it's another thing in ninth grade to actually walk the college with a tour, to see the learning centers, to see what's available, to have that experience in that ninth grade year. To have an experience of speaking. If anybody's ever seen Shark Tank, that Viking industry, we saw wearing the Viking hats, that's exactly what it was like. The owner of Viking Industries, the owner of Fowler Industries, there was another industry partner there. There was a bunch of adults, and these kids had to get up and present in front of their, HBPA partners. They had to present their original product. And like Alan said, there was no blueprint. They got a thing of corrugated cardboard and a task. They also got to meet the owner of the product that was looking to package his product with a design that represented his company. So they had all these real-world challenges, and this wasn't just made up. That, the owner was actually looking for something that could represent his brand in a cost-effective packaging. So it was actually just a great example of how that would work and how that real-life experience forces them to think outside the box, work together, and do some of the things that we know 21st century jobs are looking for. All right? So I'm going to pass this off to Mr. Nidhan to talk to you about project-based learning.
Hi, my name is Michael, and I'm a Chapter 1 scholar. And I'm going to be talking about, so I'm going to be talking about, there it was. So I'm going to be talking about project-based learning, PBL. One of the key components of Ptech experience is project-based learning, PBL. Through PBL, young scholars are able to develop knowledge and skills through engaging projects set around real-world challenges or topics. And the first PBL was access. We were talking about Ellenville, showing like businesses about access in Ellenville, like transportation, police stations, fire stations, like basically anything that you can access in Ellenville. And this was really one of the first things that brought everyone's attention because it's a city that we live in. And when we went more into detail, when I mainly went more into detail about it, it brought us more closer and it brought us more attention towards things. And when we were learning about it, it's just you just wrap your head around things that you didn't even know about in Ellenville. And things that you could be interested in, didn't even know that there was transportation for buses and all that. It can make businesses around Ellenville, not even in Ellenville, around Ellenville, very interested. And we made websites and brochures about it. And it got a lot of people interested, including people in the school interested. So, and we got a lot of questions about community stuff, like housing, and just mainly businesses in general and services. And we, So our second PBL was identity. And this was personally my favorite. And we were doing a PBL about a hero's journey. So someone that's made a big impact on the world, someone that's either smart or changed something big in the whole world. And a lot of people did Albert Einstein, mainly me, my group, we did Stephen Hawking. I learned so much about it. It taught me how to teach how, where my limit was. And it taught me a lot of things about just space and gravity, what he was around. And the main thing that I learned about it was everyone had something in common. And it was they had a goal, and that goal was something that they wanted to do. And it gave me inspiration, and it gave probably everyone inspiration about things that they want to do. And I just kept going with it, and it taught me that things I'm very interested in, I learn in. Anything, if I put my mind to it, learn to it, math, English, anything like that, I can really talk about it hours on end, keep going. And this challenge really just taught me that. And probably without this challenge, I probably wouldn't be able to speak about anything that I've learned and just sink it in my head. So I really appreciated this challenge. Thank you.
And as part of that, and we went through that, and Michael obviously spoke about his experiences, we also had guest speakers coming in and talking to kind of launch the project, give some of their insights, some of their experience to kind of get the creative juices going. But I can tell you, and I can say specifically, all these guys did a great job, but the passion, I think it came through here, that Michael had for his presentation. I asked him about Stephen Hawking, and about a half hour later, I had to excuse myself. And I'm telling you, the depth and the inspiration, and what he didn't tell you too, and you can see it on the bottom slide right there, they also had to create a set of string art to demonstrate each chapter in that hero's journey. So in this case, Stephen's start, all the things that happen in the hero's journey. So that was the other side of that. All right? So at this point, I just wanted to go, we have one more slide on this, then we have some testimonials and questions. Field trips, obviously the current situation has made things a little challenging, but again, we believe in exposure, access, and experience. So to launch that project, our young scholars actually went to Art OMI up in Ghent, New York, just to walk. It's very similar, I believe, to Storm King, to really see these open air art experiences and just look and see how different representations of things can happen. It's not always literal and concrete, to really stimulate their minds for that string art presentation. So that's another component is we saw that with SUNY Ulster, and we saw that with Art OMI, and there'll be more to come. What we also didn't say too, for the Access Project and why they learned so much, we did a walking tour of Ellenville. And I learned a ton too, being new to the area. I think it was phenomenal. So we have some testimonials here, and I'm going to ask each of the young men behind me to speak specifically about their experiences. But what you'll see as you go through this, a lot of enhancement. And again, this is 5 months into their 9th grade year. The experiences they've gotten in communication, collaboration, thinking outside the box, the non-traditional approach that hooks and engages. That's what many of our young scholars really speak about. Getting those experiences, being on a college campus in 9th grade. We can go to the next slide. I believe Marcus is on here. Oh, no, it was Michael. Michael, if you wanted to get up and just quickly sum up what you said there.
So how I explained it is, in the span of 5 months, I used to, in ordinary school and all that, I used to downgrade myself and be that I thought I had a limit with things. And when I had really hard times with tests and stuff, the ordinary things. And past 5 months in Ptech, when we're doing projects, I realized, like I said before, I have no limit. I keep going. And I don't even realize, when we're doing it for so long, it feels like 2 minutes have passed by, and it's been 40 minutes. And I made so much process, so much, everything. And I get surprised with myself. And even when the teacher says everyone's leaving the classroom, I'm still the only person in the classroom just doing what I'm doing. And she says, Michael. I'm like, oh, my bad. I just walk out. And it just changed me as a person to work harder. And I don't even realize that I'm working hard. I just like doing it. And all of this progress and all this stuff I'm taking in, I'm just not even noticing it. And later on, I just realized how much I learned. And it's just a flash, it's crazy.
So basically, the question I was asked was, what do you like about the Ptech experience? And basically, my answer to that was how I like the opportunity that we have here, and the support that we really get here is insane. I feel like a lot of people learn differently in our school, and it's I definitely recommend the Ptech program to my sister, because I feel like in regular ordinary school she doesn't really get that. So she obviously gets that support, but she doesn't really have those connections with certain teachers, and I feel like those teachers in Ptech really give that support that a lot of people need, because everybody's different, learn differently. And basically that's just what my answer was to that. I really liked the fact that the thought of us getting our associate's degree by the end of high school is just crazy to me, and it's us getting to know that in 9th grade is just insane. And I just really thought we're steps ahead of all of our friends in regular 9th grade, and how much we're learning and experiencing with all these with these projects and everything like that. So I was just really impressed with how Ptech was, because it was a lot to put in, to sign up for Ptech. It's what is this? It's I'm not gonna be able to see my friends in 9th grade and stuff like that. So it's a commitment to really, sign up and say I'm gonna be in the Ptech program. But now it's just I feel it's so I don't know. This is so different. And from what we expected, all of us, I could say that probably expected. And I feel like all of us are going to finish in, like, do great in our future from what we're learning at Ptech now. So, yeah, thank you.
I was asked a question, how is the Ptech experience different from traditional school? It's different in so many ways. Like, as Marcus previously said, like, we're going to have our associate's degree by the time we get out of high school. Like, that's crazy to even think about. And also our styles of learning, like project-based learning and workplace learning. And like, we get these opportunities, like speaking in front of like 15 people. I don't know. It's like crazy. Like, I wouldn't be able to do this in the beginning of the year. So it taught me a lot. And yeah.
Okay, so before I go any further and I take questions, I just wanted to extend a sincere thank you for giving us this opportunity, and I hope, understand that it was a chance you took, but it's certainly paying dividends, and we are just so grateful for the opportunity to have this program. So thank you. I'll open it up if anybody had any
Questions
questions.
from the board? Geneva?
So not so much a question, but just a comment. I sat briefly on the Ulster County BOCES Board of Ed, and so I was able to see Ptech before it came to Ellenville, and really was just excited about what it would look like here, and excited about the opportunity it would bring to our community. And from seeing it operating in a school district that's not here, or, it's connected to here, but not here, and then to see it here, it is beyond my wildest dreams. I am so inspired as someone that is, still establishing their career. These are things that, the experience that you guys are having right now are experiences myself and my cohort and my friends in our late 20s are going through. And just to be able to have that head start, or just to be able to get that experience, and for it to teach you so much about yourselves and so much about the world and so much about how, like adults tell you to work hard, and there's not really the connect between working hard, them telling you to do it because you're being told, and then the benefit of doing it and feeling, even like you guys were saying, it's so hard to describe the benefit once you feel the payment of your hard work. And I'm just so very excited to see you guys in 3 years and in 4 years and getting your associate's degree and seeing what Ptech has to offer. Because this is the feeling that Ellenville gave me. It's the feeling that inspired me to sit on the board. It's the feeling, it's a voluntary position. And so it is a lot of hard work and it's a lot of commitment. And for all of the things that you guys are explaining, this is exactly why I do it and exactly what I hope other students would get from Ellenville. So cannot say enough of it's just indescribable, the things that you guys said, the inspiration that you're giving. It's beyond, like I said, beyond my wildest dreams. I'm so proud of you guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Board members? Jody?
So I agree with my board member. And also I want to tell you that, bringing this program to Ellenville, we all, didn't know what to expect. And to see the excitement and passion in the students, I think it just really seals the deal that we're doing the right thing. Not everybody learns the same. And I think giving students the opportunity to learn and to make connections in our community, to learn about our community, is huge. And I just want to thank you all.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I would like to add, and certainly agree with both of my colleagues here. We're very proud of each and every one of you. I got to tell you, as I was talking to you earlier, before you got up to the mic, one of the hardest things you can do as a young person is get up in front of a group of people and from TV land and start talking. Public speaking is one of the hardest things you could do. It's one of the most nerve-wracking things that you'll ever, and I've been doing it for years, and it's still nerve-wracking for me. So kudos to you, and also kudos to Mr. Donahue for being the leader that you are in this program, and instilling and motivating these young gentlemen and all the students here to be motivated to succeed in the future. You really do. What I agree, and certainly want to say your insight and perspective into what you're going to get out of this program. I hope that you continue to do that. You really will have 5 steps ahead of everybody else by getting an associate's degree in your senior year here in high school. That is just something that's unheard of, but it's a credit to you and to everybody in this program. And we welcome to see what challenges lie ahead of you, and we welcome you to come back here and tell us how it progresses as you go through your journey. And not to say there won't be any bumps in the road, but certainly we look forward to seeing how you're progressing as you go through your high school years. So thank you, and we're proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to reports and correspondence. As you're aware, or some of you may not be aware, there was a Supreme Court decision in Nassau County that overturned the governor's and Department of Health's mandate on masks in school districts and across the board. Tonight, late this afternoon, rather, the appellate division heard an appeal from the governor's office and from the Department of Health. And the appellate court has issued a stay pending further court proceedings. And the mask mandate remains in effect for schools across the state until this court hears everything and makes a decision one way or another. So we are, just like every other school, required to continue with the mask mandate within our school. And we will anxiously await the appellate court's decision as we go forward. I also have a correspondence from Al Carlson in Ellenville. He was concerned that we were teaching, we had a curriculum of critical race theory in our school districts. He wrote a letter to the district. We are going to reply to that letter. We do not have any curriculum at the present time that teaches critical race theory, so we will be sending a correspondence back to him. And again, very proud of that presentation tonight. Great to see the students as motivated as they are going forward. Board members? Wayne?
Yeah, I appreciate every parent and every person that comes up and speaks at public session. I think that it takes a lot to do that, speak in public. A school board meeting is a meeting held in public, not necessarily a public meeting. And our public session is 3 minutes. They go sit down, and the superintendent and the chair answer their questions. It is not a back and forth as it was tonight. And I really just, we spend a lot of time here in meetings and doing what's in the best interest of the children. And I feel very strongly about that. I just think going forward, I don't think we should have a back and forth at public session. It's not what it's meant for. And, I know that we do the best we can to not, shut a parent down because they should be heard, but we can't have a back and forth here. The public can't hear what they're saying, and then during a presentation, it's loud. Mr. Napoli's still not here. We gave the direction of meet with the superintendent and have your answers. She answered all the questions. If it wasn't enough, they need to meet with her and go further. Their voices were heard. We didn't shut them up. And our public session is not about a back and forth. I just don't think we should have that going on.
Nope, that's why I tried to, steer it back to where it was. And the parents wanted to continue with it, but certainly going forward, we will be sticking with that we're just going to comment, going forward on the issues. I did ask them to come back several times.
I know.
So we did try to steer it back. This is, it's a very emotional issue for some people, really, really emotional. It's really close to home. And there are some deep-seated beliefs on both sides of the aisle on this issue. And I certainly respect the parents that come forward. I certainly appreciate their concerns are real.
Absolutely.
Others may not agree with it. That's okay. That's why we're in America. We have the right to agree or disagree. But we will continue to provide the parents with as much information, and I encourage all the parents out there, if they have any questions, have any concerns, I believe that the superintendent and wholeheartedly will answer those and respond to them in due process. So if you do have any concerns, make an appointment with the superintendent. There's a COVID officer, Vince Napoli, who is in charge of COVID. If you have any questions or concerns about the COVID protocols, please contact Vince Napoli. But if you have any other questions or concerns, you should sit down and talk to the superintendent. We are empathetic about this because we realize how emotional it is. And You know, we are under strict rules as a district. We must abide by the New York State Education Department's rules and the governor's orders. And while we are concerned and while we may agree or disagree with those, we are mandated to abide by those. And we will continue to abide by those regulations and those laws and mandates set forth by the governor and the New York State Education Department. And that's all I'll say on the matter. Any other board member? Yes.
I just say regarding the letter on critical race theory, I know that you said we're going to respond because we don't have a course currently on critical race theory. I'd just like to be mindful in our response that that's not to say that we don't address critical race theory or that we're not going to have a course on it or that it can't be a part of our curriculum. I just noticed in the way that you said it, you stated that we don't have a course on it right now, and I just don't want that to dismiss the importance of it.
Oh, no, we're not looking to do that. We're just looking to respond to his correspondence that at the present time, we do not have any such curriculum in our schools. That was his concern. He wanted to know if we had that curriculum, and he said he had some other concerns in there. And right now we don't, but I'm not dismissing it in any way when we do our response with it.
Yeah, I just
So
want to make
thank you.
that clear that
Yeah.
just because we don't have one right now,
Right.
doesn't mean that it is not an important topic of discussion.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other board member? Okay, we'll move on to Superintendent. Lisa Wiles.
Yep, so just a couple of things this evening. We've been working with the principals and also the teachers unit to modify our APPR plan, our evaluation plan. Both agreements, one of them is being board approved tonight. The other one was board approved. We submitted everything in the portal and we are waiting for approval from State Ed. We had a review with them. So we're well on our way of having that solidified for the next few years. Just a reminder in my report, February 3rd is our winter graduation. It'll be held here in the High School Media Center with our winter graduates. We
May
are,
I ask a question? I just would like to know if the board members are invited to attend
Yes.
under the, COVID circumstances, we're still.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
It will be open, for the board members. We are in the process of working with the student council to have our student reps meet with the board president and I to have a presence here for the balance of the school year. We'll keep you updated on that. And finally, we had a meeting with our construction managers about proposals. We haven't spoken about this in a while, but proposals for the study on the pool and the feasibility of the pool and where we're going with the pool. So we're moving forward in having that study done. It should be done in about 4 weeks. So we have some options. It looks like this summer will be look like a repeat of last summer. There's no way we're going to be able to do any extensive work with the timeline right now, but we should be able to open that pool as we did last summer. So that's the plan. And as soon as we get the study on, what the feasibility is to do other things, we will definitely bring that to you. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. We will move on to Deputy Superintendent, Mrs. Kelly White.
Good evening. I just wanted to provide the board with an update on our school improvement planning. So in December, the school board approved the improvement plan for the senior high school, which is in the process of now being implemented by the building principals. And we are wrapping up our work on the elementary's improvement plan and hope to have that to you in February. And I also just wanted to thank the NAACP for inviting the school district to their Martin Luther King commemorative service. I had the opportunity to attend and speak on behalf of the school district and our partnership with the NAACP.
Thank you, Mrs. White. We will move on to personnel resolutions. Under 6.1, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be it resolved that Adam Kroger, who holds an emergency COVID-19 New York State certificate in the area of Earth Science 712, be appointed to a 4-year probationary position in the 10-year area of science effective January 31st, 2021 through January 30th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. 6.2. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Ronald Chason be appointed as an interim Director of Health, Physical Education, and Athletics at a rate of $600 per day worked effective February 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2022, or the appointment of a Director of Health, Physical Education, and Athletics.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I'd just like to thank Mary Borriella for all the work that she's done coming here and stepping in and really doing a yeoman's job of trying to get everything together and bring us back, bring our athletic program back up to date. And she certainly did a lot of work, and we really appreciate it, and we'll certainly miss her, but always we continue to wish her well. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. 6.3. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Cassandra Reyes, Madison Stone, and Emily Lutz be appointed as uncertified substitute teachers at a rate of $120 per day work for the 21-22 school year.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved the following junior, senior high school extended day personnel be approved at a rate of $43 per hour work for the 21-22 school year.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Wayne.
Is there a minimum number of students for these?
I think we do not have a minimum number of students for the AIS programs. We want to keep it open so that people, that there are opportunities, but we haven't had minimum numbers in a few years.
Okay, thank you.
Jody.
What are we doing to promote this, letting parents and students know it's available?
I think the high school has a plan. We'll follow up with them.
Yeah, there'll be letters going home.
Can we also maybe put something on social media?
Yeah, yep. To put it on our Instagram account.
Yeah, there'll be
Facebook.
students identified for AIS, and there'll be targeted outreach directly to them saying that their child is highly encouraged to attend the AIS program. And of course, it's open to anybody, but there will be a targeted outreach.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that the annual Professional Performance Review Plan, APPR document negotiated between the Ellenville Central School District and the Ellenville Central Administrators and Supervisors Association principals dated January 5th, 2022 is hereby approved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that the appointment of Bridget Gonzalez, clerk typist, be made permanent following successful probationary period of 6 months effective February 4th, 2022.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved the appointment of Angelique Horvath, cleaner, be made permanent following successful probationary period of 6 months effective February 8th, 2022.
Second.
Moved.
2020.
Yeah.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Nicole Kavanaugh, Cherish Berry, and Sean McGeever be appointed for home tutoring at a contractual rate for the 21-22 school year.
Move the list is presented. Second.
Move the list and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Angelo Rosado's request for an unpaid leave of absence be granted effective February 14, 2022 through March 18, 2022.
So move. Second.
Move seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Budget resolutions for the
Motion
season.
move 7-1 and 7-2.
Second.
Move seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Under education resolutions, resolve the attached list of student IEPs be acknowledged as appropriate. There are 19.
So move. Second.
Move seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Construction resolutions.
Motion to move 9192.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Under other resolutions, 10.1, Be it resolved that the community service requirement for students graduating June 2022 be set at 20 hours.
So moved.
Second. Move seconded, discussion. Lisa?
I have a question about, it was so great to see students at tonight's meeting, and I would stay here through the night if we had students come and talk to us. Is that something that counts towards community service hours when students present to us? And could it be? I imagine it took those students, 10 hours to prepare that slideshow, rehearse, and prepare.
I'm not sure if it is, but we can definitely look at it and see if it's on the list.
Or if when we get a student representative, I'm also really excited
Yeah,
about that.
I think those
That
hours do
passes.
count, yeah.
Wayne?
I would like to see us contact every student that is in need of hours, and help them get through it for the students that, really want to graduate on time and fulfill their obligation.
Anybody else? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? No one, motion carries. 10.2, resolved that a donation from the Boston Foundation in the amount of $500 be accepted for the WELV radio program.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded, discussion. Iris?
I just wanted to say that I was really glad to see that somebody, considers it significant enough to make that effort to help us out with that. And I'm also wondering if we could find out if that money is just going into the general fund for the studio, or if they're going to be getting something specific for the studio with it. If we could find out about that when we know,
Yeah.
I'd appreciate it. And do we know who the person is? I know Vince did research. He's not here right now.
Yeah, I know Vince and Alan I'll include that with the information about the donation.
Right.
But we'll include that in there, but they have had the contact about who it is and what the connections are,
Great.
so we'll include that.
Very good. Thank you.
Anybody else? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? No one, motion carries. 10.3, resolved that the Ellenville Central School District Board of Education approve the following Go Beyond Greatness Incorporated contracts.
So moved.
Been
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Iris?
Who oversees this?
Frank Mulhern?
Yeah, so is it part of, associated with the other programs that he's?
Yes, community service engagement, MBK. There's different trips that they take, different activities that they, I think they're pretty described in the grant proposal, the proposals that they were included there. But Frank is intimately involved with the woman who runs that program or the organization. Her name is Ashley Knox. She's done work here for quite a few years with us now.
I wonder at some time if he would be available to do a presentation for us. I always like keeping up with what he's doing. I think it's crucial to the school district.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to just thank Frank for all of his efforts here with the community outreach and the students. And as Lisa and Iris just mentioned, the more students we have here in these meetings, presenting and giving us updates on daily things going on in schools and, how they're succeeding and what we can do differently to help out is just great.
Anybody else? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Board members, set your agendas for February 8th. That is our next meeting. If you have anything that you want to see on the agenda, or if you have a topic, or a personnel issue or something of that for executive session, please give the superintendent or myself a heads up, and we'll get it on the executive session agenda, or we'll get on the regular agenda wherever is appropriate. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Second. All those in favor? Opposed?